Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you have been watching. This is Risco and Osaka coming at you with another one of our playlist cleanups. We should have gotten up to 40 levels in the playlist. Time to strip off those top 10 so we can make room for the next 10 to come in and give those top 10 one last little bit of hype, one last little bit of shout out, and last bit of encouragement to y'all to check them out and see what you think. Now, starting us off in number 1, we've got Madness is a Place by Sayori1357. This is a really nice slice of LBP goodness. It's got a lot of fun gameplay. It's got a wild but still cohesive environment. It's got a really nice musical track that's going on for about the first 5/6 of the level. Then it shifts to just one of the regular tracks that we get out of the game. It's something that I had a real lot of fun with, and I do encourage all of you to give a shot. Now, in number 2, we've got The Factory Has Eyes by Peter Brad. This one is really tiny. It's really quite compact. You can see the scoreboard in the background, which is something that I always do enjoy, seeing the scoreboard back there and wondering to myself, how am I supposed to get over to it? The whole level really isn't going to take you very much time, but I do think that for the short time involved, it's definitely worth a play. Now, in number 3, we've got Tomb Toggle by R2D2. Now, this one was team picked, and for a very, very good reason. It's a very solid on toggle level, incorporating both little toggle and big toggle's abilities into what you're going to be doing in the level. The decoration, the design of the level is very coherent. It's very cohesive. It looks like a place. Things fit together like they ought to fit together. And there's a lot of really good mechanical element going on in the level here. You're pushing things and pulling things and interacting with the level and actually, kind of moving objects. It's not just a static environment, which is something that I always really, really appreciate. R2D2 did a great job on this one. Coming in number 4, we've got Shiro no Yume, Dream of White by Riku04. This is another Little Big Planet 2 slice of something. It's one of these real precision-based fiddly platformer type of levels. It's very much challenging your ability to deal with precise jumps and being exactly where you need to be. It's very much your mileage may vary type of level. For myself personally, sometimes I really go in for these types of levels, but quite often I find them to become quite frustrating after a while, and I tend to bounce out unless I have to do the level for an episode. And even then, like with this one, I never finished this one. I was too frustrated to go on. But if you've got the skills to pay the bills, give it a shot and see what you think. Coming in at number 5, we've got Treetop Hop by LP Painonen, and this one is really, really fun. The environment is a little bit kludgy, but it does absolutely have its own sense of charm. There are some creatures that are wandering around in the level, something that I always enjoy seeing when creators implement things as well. Something I'm saying a lot this go about, but very cohesive. Things are fitting together very well. Gameplay is relatively simple. It's not anything that's probably going to trip you up too much, except for the introduction of the dangerous gas as a hazard. Something we've talked about in the past, where I find that the hitbox, the trailing hitbox especially, on moving dangerous gas can be really difficult to judge whether you're in a dangerous area or not. But aside from that, there's really nothing to complain about. In number 6, we got The Kingdom of Chickens by Mike Cherry, and this one is... well, if Treetop Hop was a bit of a kludgy design, this one is a really kludgy design. There's not really a lot of cohesion in the visual presentation of the level. There's not a lot of coherence in the visual presentation of the level. It doesn't feel like a real environment, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like that kind of fit together with materials you find around the house type of environment. It's just lots of really big pasted materials. Now, it does have the story, and the story is relatively fun, and the gameplay, for the most part, isn't really a big issue. It's something that I had a good time with. And there are some little mechanisms, things that are shooting flaming barrels at you that I thought were really quite cool for the most part. Now, coming in at number 7, we've got Cold War Bunker by Colby Ryan. And this one, I really love the environment in this level. It's a bit of a shorter level, which is not really a big problem. Sometimes you do want these kind of more compact plays. You want these more compact types of environments. And the environment does fit together very, very well. The material set is very, very well chosen. My biggest issues that I had with this level personally was I do think that the cameras could have been set up a little bit better. And there's a bit where you're going to be thrown through the air and you've got to grab onto something to drop down to where you need to be to change layers, to force a layer change, that is. And I do think that that hitbox could have been made larger. The object that you're going to be grabbing could have been made a little bit bigger because it's super easy to miss that grab point. Now, coming in at number 8, we've got Nier Automata by Ramki Bainizuka. Give me 1 second here. Ramki Bainizuka. Hi, sumimasen, komensai, Ramki. This one is a little bit challenging because what's been done here I do think is really quite good. I did enjoy the environmental design. I thought that it sold that initial factory area of Nier Automata really quite well, the very dwarfing scale of that factory. I really like the sprite work. I thought that that was really cool. I like the sound effect work for the most part, and the music in this one is also very solid on, and it's an adapted track from the game, and that's really quite cool. I did appreciate that. The issue here is that Nier Automata, the game itself, is built on fast movement, and you're zipping around and you're chopping into enemies, and there's really no way to replicate that in Little Big Planet 3, or well, not a smooth way to replicate that, I think, without really causing a lot of lag in screen tearing and breaking levels with different points of logic. So what we have here is it's a real scaled down version of what you get in the actual game, and as something that is an adaptation, it leaves a lot to be desired in that area. Now, coming in at number 9, we've got Out of Time by ADTK, and this one I really enjoyed. It's another one of these LBP2 slices of goodness, so it's closer to Madness is a Place than Dream of White, that is for sure. It's got this kind of wild and out there type of environment, but I do think that it really works for this type of level for the most part. Although sometimes, because the environment can be, well, it can be relatively busy, that it can sometimes be a little bit difficult to figure out just where the next progress point is going to be. But it is an ADTK level, which to me means that it's got a very high quality to it, and I've always enjoyed her levels, and one of my favorites, Red and White, unfortunately is no longer playable, but still give her levels a look because they're just really amazing. They're really fun. And wrapping us up in number 10, we've got Jetpacking Junkyard of Deletion by Zakinator6. This one is so cool. The presentation is very solid on the way that it tells a story, both in the initial section where you're meeting up with the character, but also through kind of environmental storytelling, almost ambient storytelling. I really liked. I also like the fact that it does get a lot of mileage out of the jetpack, which, since Little Big Planet 1 is a power-up that we don't really see an awful lot of anymore. And quite inventive uses of the jetpack here, which is quite cool. Unfortunately, some of those uses can be a little bit tough to wrap your head around, especially the first time that they're encountered. It can be a little bit frustrating at times to get yourself where you need to be going, but I do think it is absolutely worth whatever effort is put into playing. It's a really cool level, and all of these levels for the most part I do think are really cool. Even the two that I kind of bragged on just a little bit, Dream of White and Kingdom of Chickens, I do think that they have their positive points, and they are absolutely worth a play to see how you do with them or how they fit into your enjoyment. But, as I said, these levels will be coming off the playlist probably sometime next week, at least by the time that we have our next LBsP episode next Tuesday. And give them a shot. And if you need to find them even after they've come off the playlist, in the posts on the message boards or in the video description below, you'll be able to find the LBP Me links to take you to those levels so that you can play them at your leisure. Your leisure is my pleasure, as it were. And that really does it for us here this go about. So, from me and Isco here in Osaka, to all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you, arigato, arigasamidota, sayonara, see you, and ciao.